Most B2B consultants and high level advisors fail because they try to fix the termite problem before they've even killed a single bee. And you're probably saying to yourself, well, what does that mean, Harrison? What are you talking about? Why are you talking about insects? I thought this was supposed to be an educational video for entrepreneurs. And if you think that, you're right. This is an educational video for entrepreneurs. Let me explain. Because in this video, I'm going to show you why doing less is how you do much, much more. And first, we'll talk about who you are. Who are you? Maybe you're like this guy. Maybe you're like him or someone like him. Maybe you have a ton of accolades in your career, like you're an executive and you've overseen stratospheric growth in your various roles and in your various companies. Maybe you're a VP at some kind of Fortune 500 company. Maybe you're already a solopreneur out on your own, trying to leverage your encyclopedic knowledge of your niche skill set as a B2B consultant, but you have a problem. And your problem is you're getting no deals. You're landing no clients. It started out okay because you leveraged your personal network, but you burned through that personal network. And now nobody's paying any attention to you and you don't know what to do. And your bank account and your family are begging you. Maybe not verbally because they, like you, have no idea what the exterminator model is yet, but they're begging you in their own slightly desperate way to try what I'm about to teach you. But first, let's talk about why you're stuck. Why are you stuck at this stage? Why are you, a certifiable genius with a decade-long track record of nothing but success, why are you struggling to get clients? When the harsh answer is you went too big too fast. In fact, your britches might be a little bit tight. In other words, you may be getting a little bit too big for them. And your ask is too big. I said ask, not the other word that you thought I said. Your ask is too big and it's coming too soon. And your prospects, they don't know you, they don't trust you, and no matter how many of those fancy awards that you won at the company retreat at Hotel Dell in 2023, your prospects could not care less because their trust does not come from your credentials. Their trust is going to come from service. It's going to come from taking action on behalf of the party in question. And it's going to come from you demonstrating your competence, which is the reason you won all those fancy accolades and all those fancy awards in the first place, because you're just a stone cold business guy, a stone cold business stud. That's why you won them, but you have to demonstrate that in a low risk way. So here's a story from my personal life to illustrate what I mean. This morning, the pharmacist told me that I was having a good hair day. And I think she was lying. Maybe she's trying to upsell me. What do pharmacists upsell you on? Or maybe she's trying to exterminate me. She was going to exterminate model me. And you'll understand what I mean after this story. So a few weeks ago, I was sitting down here in my basement, which you can see behind me. There's a nice window. It walks out into our backyard. And my kids came downstairs and they asked if we could go outside and play. So, of course, I dropped everything that I was doing, whatever staggeringly genius YouTube video content script that I was writing at the time. I put it aside and we went outside. And when we got outside, I looked over to the back of the yard at the fence. And what did I see? I saw a strange, obvious, really, really noticeable pile of sawdust on the ground. So I go and I look at it and I follow the sawdust up the fence, and then it leads to a perfectly marble-shaped, perfect circle hole in the fence. Now I'm not a bug guy by any means, as this video will make abundantly clear. I'm an internet marketer. We don't typically deal in bugs. There's not a lot of overlap between my interests and a bug guy's interests. Maybe some, but I don't share those overlaps. But I knew enough to know that this was probably a bug problem. So I pulled out my phone, I snapped a picture, and I asked ChatGPT, what is this hole in my fence? And my trusty robot advisor immediately said, that is from a carpenter bee, and you need to get that fixed as soon as possible. So thank you to my large language model friend. So what do I do next? I call an exterminator. And the business lesson that you're going to learn from this particular exterminator is going to pay you handsomely if you listen to me and you incorporate it. Okay, so we've lived in this house about 6 years. And in all that time, my exterminator, he doesn't look like that. This is AI. And I wasn't wearing that white suit. I don't own a white suit, but we've lived here about 6 years. And the exterminator company that I use, they've only really done indoor work. But I know I'm good enough. They come around once a quarter. It's all good. It's all fine. Now, I'm not like a huge referrer for them or whatever. They provide a service and it's okay. But this time they send over a new guy that I've never seen before. Again, not him at all. But I don't know this new guy. I've never seen him before. He's never been in my house before. He comes and he looks outside this time rather than doing the typical inside stuff. And he immediately confirms what my robot had said, which was this was a carpenter bee problem. And he even found a few more instances where the bees had drilled holes in our fence and other places in the fence. And this guy, he was an older gentleman like this guy, but not nearly as well kempt. He was a really salty old guy. He's exactly what you would expect from an exterminator in the Southeast U.S. If you're envisioning what an exterminator in the Southeast U.S. might look like, you're exactly right. And he said to me, "You got to get rid of these things. I can handle it for you." And before, I don't want to hear it. Yeah, I realize now in retrospect I could have dealt with the carpenter bees by myself. Okay, enough of that. Leave your comments if you want to make fun of me for not knowing how to deal with basic bee problems. I didn't know. This guy was here. I asked him to fix it. So he walks up to his truck and he grabs some kind of poison. I don't know, just a big can of poison, and he sprays it in all the holes. And he turns around and he says, "Yep, you're all set. You're all good. That's that. We're all set. We're finished." I said, "Well, thank you. That seemed easy. What do I owe you? What do I owe you for killing these bees?" And here's where he showed his true genius, or maybe the genius of whoever trained this company in sales, because he probably took one look at me and thought to himself, "This guy clearly needs help. This guy's clearly not a bug guy." He thought he looked at my bucket of poison. He never seen anything like that before, and so he looks over at the back of our house and he said, "Let's put the carpenter bees aside for a minute. The real risk for a house like this is termites. When was the last time that you had a termite treatment?" And of course, when he said that, I have no idea when the last time I had a termite treatment was. It was way before we moved here. So I said, "I have no idea, man. No clue. I have no idea when we've had a termite treatment. Is that bad?" And he kind of laughed. He's, "Are termites bad?" Well, yeah, they're bad. So let me do this. Let me take a look and I'll quote out for you what a termite treatment would cost. And so there's one tip before we even get into the full exterminator model. He didn't even give me an option to talk about termites. He just started talking about them and he went and did it. He had just solved a pressing problem for me and he was already on to the next one without even missing a beat. He said, "Let me do this. Let me go take a look." He didn't ask for permission to do that because I already trusted him. He killed my bees with his poison and he sprayed it and he made it look so effortless, which I now realize it kind of is. But again, leave your comments if you want to make fun of that. That's fine. So he goes and he walks the length of the house. He looks at some stuff. Who knows what he was doing? And he comes back to me and he says, "For the bees, normally that's just $100 just to cover my time and me getting out here. If you want to, which I would recommend you do, so your house doesn't collapse with your kids in it from a termite infestation, then I can apply that $100 to a termite treatment." And that'll be, I don't even remember what he said, 600, 700. I don't remember. I don't remember what he said because I agreed immediately. I said, "Yes, you bug man genius. Please save me from these termites that I didn't even know were a risk until 5 seconds ago." So what did the exterminator do in this interaction? He didn't cold pitch his termite treatment, his particular high ticket thing. He didn't lead with that. And he certainly didn't show up at my door, knocking on my door, interrupting me from making YouTube videos. He didn't knock on my door offering this big ticket item. Instead, he made a relevant suggestion after already proving that he's competent. And he made that relevant suggestion based on his observation of my house. And if you haven't figured it out yet, house in this instance is an allegory or a metaphor for the businesses that you're serving. So what did I do in that scenario? I agreed immediately. And now I can safely say, or I can't safely say because I still know nothing about bugs, but I can at least assume that we are safer from termites today than we were on that fateful day because they came out and did their thing the next day. Great. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean for you? Somebody who wants to leverage your career experience, your authority, your track record, and gain an income stream in the form of consultant or advisory engagements for other businesses, high ticket, big money advisory consultants that pay you for all of the knowledge that you've compounded over your career. Well, what does this mean for you? It means you got to kill some bees first. So what you do is, this is the model, okay? You start with a small problem that they already feel. I got bees in my fence. That's bad. That's probably bad. I didn't even really know they were bees until the robot told me. But I knew once I knew that, I knew it was bad. So you start with a small problem, you offer to solve it immediately or extremely quickly. Maybe even you do it for free. I mean, you're the expert, so you should be quick with this stuff, way quicker than whatever the business operators are, and you just treat this as your client acquisition cost. Because I hate to break it to you, every client that you're ever going to get has an acquisition cost associated with it, whether it comes in the form of your time, which is what we're talking about here, or it comes in the form of paid acquisition and like advertising or something, or it comes in the form of goodwill when you're leveraging your network, which you've already burned through. And that's why you thought this was so easy. But then you realize your network signed up with you because they trusted you. And now we're mirroring that, we're mimicking that, we're recreating that trust with the exterminator model. So what do you do then after you've solved this narrow problem really quickly, maybe even for free? The business didn't have to barely lift a finger, and they just see you as this person who came in and did a really great thing for them. Well, then, with your foot in the door, you use that to kick the door wide open and pitch bigger, longer, much more lucrative work for yourself. So why does this strategy work so well? It works because it leads with action. It's really low risk for the business in question. Ideally, it's going to solve an immediate and a pressing problem. And it's easy for the prospect to say yes to. In other words, it's effortless and relatively cheap on their part for you to come in and fix this narrow problem. They don't have to spend a ton of time on it. They don't have to reallocate their team. They don't have to do anything like that. And you just came in and you knocked it out of the park really easy. You made it look easy. You just sprayed some poison in the holes. And then you're like, that's it. Wow, this guy's amazing, which then positions you as their guy. You are their trusted expert in whatever domain of their business this is. You've already helped them nuke their drill-faced bees, and you saved their fence that they really like, that they look at and just think, that's a nice fence. It would be terrible if it got infested with bees or, heaven forbid, termites and collapsed into the ground. So what you're not doing is you're not sending 1,000 LinkedIn DMs pitching your $35,000 retainer to strangers. Instead, you're sending maybe 100 LinkedIn DMs, and you're offering to kill a few bees, and you're offering to do it on the house. So what does this look like in practice? I've got some examples here for you because I really want this exterminator model, this exterminator metaphor. You clicked on the thumbnail, you're here watching it, you've made it this far. I want to make it really stick with you and really hit home. So here's some concrete examples. We got a guy in the incubator right now, which is my one-on-one program, and he's doing IT consulting, where I teach this in the incubator one-on-one. I teach this model. And what he does is he serves nursing homes and senior care facilities. And apparently their Wi-Fi going out, well, that's a big problem for them because they got their residents want to make FaceTime phone calls with their grandkids. They want to watch Netflix. I don't know what they're watching on Netflix. I couldn't even hazard a guess. But when the Wi-Fi goes down, it's a big problem for these folks. And so what he does is he offers a free Wi-Fi diagnostic for them to show them why that's happening and tell them how to fix it. That's his B. That's his carpenter B. And when he gets in there, then it's really easy for him to show them how the real problem is their network. And that's a bigger job. That's a bigger job to overhaul. And he can help them with that too, because he just told them how to fix their Wi-Fi, maybe even fixed it for them because he can do that pretty easily. And then he says, well, what you really need is this new network overhaul. And that is his termite. All right. So what about in sales? I got another guy in the incubator doing this in the sales world. So what he does is he finds boutique agencies and he'll do a CRM audit to find how much money they're missing out on untouched leads, dead leads, lapsed leads. And he's going to give a simple playbook to fix it. That's his B. And then he gets in there and what does he find? He gets in their HubSpot integration and he finds hundreds of leads that were qualified, but that they've just been ignored for weeks or months. And he says, with your average order value and your average close rate, these dead leads, if you had handled them properly and you had followed up properly, they could have been worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so that's his B. He's showing you, look, this is what you're doing wrong. Here's how I would fix it. And then his termite, his big thing, his big engagement, well, I'll train your team for you. I'll institute my system for fixing this problem and you don't even have to worry about it. And then all these dead leads, they'll still be dead, but your new ones won't die the same way. In finance, another example, I got a guy working on this too. So he's doing cash flow audits for home service companies in the single digit millions in revenue. You get in the door and you say, you do this audit and then maybe you find 6 figures in past due receivables in unbilled work. That's a problem. That's a big problem. So he delivers a simple report, how to fix it. That's his B. And his termite, why don't you hire me to incorporate these changes so it doesn't overburden your staff and you wake up the next day and people are paying you the way they're supposed to be paying you. All right, the last example, with hopefully this is enough examples for you because you're smart, and hopefully these are sufficient enough for you to abstract and extrapolate to your own skills and to your own experience and to your own businesses. But so cybersecurity, you go to organizations that might have a lot of sensitive data, like an accounting firm, and what you do is you offer a client data security audit. You say you're going to do it totally free. That's your B. And when you get in there and you start killing these, you start poisoning these bees with your flamethrowers or your bucket of poison. What you do is you find 5x employees who still have active admin credentials. So you tell the firm that, and they immediately panic because they know why that's bad. Which of course they know why that's bad. And then you get them with your termite treatment. That's a 5-figure project to migrate their systems to zero trust architecture, role-based accounting controls, role-based access controls, and you're saving them from potential lawsuits and catastrophic data loss down the road. There's some examples, and here's where most high-level consultants go wrong. And this is why you need the exterminator model, because you're probably trying something like this, or someone else is telling you to try something like this, and they're wrong, and this is the right way to do it. So normally what people do is they're going to pitch overwhelming jobs up front. These jobs are over complex, and most importantly, when you pitch something like this, they're going to cause a ton of headache for the client. They're going to be a big ordeal, and they're busy. They don't want to deal with this. And what's even worse is they also don't know you. So you're asking them to disrupt everything they're doing for this massive engagement because you think you're such a genius, and they have no idea. They barely even know who you are. You might have a LinkedIn page and an online resume, and that's not enough. So what you're doing is you're skipping rungs on the trust ladder, and then you're surprised when you fall off the ladder completely. Instead, here's what you do. You find a pain that they know that they have. They see the bees. Oh my gosh, we got bees. What am I going to do? You solve that problem really quickly. Then you look around and you say, now that I'm in here, I'm under the hood of your business. I can see you got some bigger issues too. Do you want me to help you with those? And this is the easiest, simplest way to land high-ticket B2B clients in a consulting or an advisory role if you're starting from cold traffic, people who don't know who you are. So stop trying to pitch this stuff from way up high in your ivory tower in the clouds. You're not on the ground with them. And if you're not on the ground with them, you can't talk to them about buying your satellite. You got to get down in the dirt with them. You got to kill their bees. You got to give them something valuable. And then you can sell them your space station. You can sell them your Ferrari, because then they'll actually be listening. So that's it. I teach this model in my free community. The link is in the description. Click it, join in my free community. I'll DM you as soon as you get in there. I'll DM you immediately. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, throw me a comment. That helps me in the algorithm. That would be a nice thing for you to do to help more people discover this earth-shattering analogy of an exterminator. So throw me a comment, and I'll see you inside the free community. Links right there.